Ambassador Yossi Gal, Vice President for Advancement and External Relations.
Shalom and good afternoon. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all to this Hebrew University's Honorary Fellowship ceremony. Please take your seats and turn off your mobile phones. And before I start, I wish to say that there are so many dignitaries in the audience, and I want to mention just two of them, personal close friends. Former Minister of Defense, Shaul Mofaz, is here. And the former Minister of Health, Dr. Ephraim Sneh, is here as well. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be opening this evening with an artistic presentation by an international sand artist by the name of Ilana Yahab. She is from art studio Sand Fantasy, and she will be presenting to us Leadership for Tomorrow. So, Ilana, it's yours. Well, you certainly deserve the applause. Thank you, Ilana, for your moving and inspirational presentation. I would like now to invite to the head table the chairman of our International Board of Governors, Dan Schlesinger, the chairman of our board of directors, Mr. Harael Bet-On, and of course, the president of the Hebrew University, Professor Asher Cohen. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be paying tribute to 13 honorary fellows of the Hebrew University. It is indeed my pleasure to invite the honorary fellows to come on stage as I call their name and take their seats. So first, from Canada, Evelyn Bloomfield Schechter. From Belgium, Aldegonde Brenningmeier. From the United States of America, Bob Harris. From the United States of America, Helen Devorah Jacobs-Lepore. From the United States of America, William Jeffrey Kilberg, Bill. From Switzerland, Jacques Maffar. From Australia, Philip Moses. From Israel, Yankele Rimer. From the United Kingdom, the one and only Muriel Salem. From Germany, Bettina Schwarz. From Argentina and the United States of America, Leslie Shasha. And from the United States of America, Barry Skolnick. Ladies and gentlemen, Evelyn Wexler, better known to each and every one of us here as Evie, from the United States, received her honorary fellowship in New York, and she is joining us by Zoom, okay? Now, I do call upon the chairman of our International Board of Governors, Daniel Schlesinger, to address us. Please, Daniel.
Thank you, Yossi. Thank you all for being here for this delightful celebration of some really, truly great people. An honorary fellow is someone who has demonstrated extraordinary commitment to the institution. And certainly, all of the people sitting on the stage here have done that. And I welcome the opportunity for all of you to hear a little bit about them through the course of this ceremony. Excuse me. Some of them have had to wait a little longer than usual due to COVID, and we thank them for their patience, just another indication of their extraordinary commitment. Another meaning of the word fellowship is camaraderie, friendship, a kind of institutional bond. And that's something that all of us who have been part of the Hebrew University community are very familiar with. There is something unusual about the bond that unites us in the service of this phenomenal institution. Many of the people who are being honored today have been part of it for a while. Some of them are relatively new. But one thing that's really struck me over the last few days as we've been celebrating together at the Board of Governors meetings is the indications of that bond, the depths of friendship, the way people almost immediately become engaged with each other as they get to know each other over the course of these few days. And it's really a phenomenal quality of this institution and of the people who support it. And so I hope you will enjoy joining with me in welcoming our honorees today into the fellowship of the Hebrew University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I now invite the chairman of our board of directors, Mr. Harael Bet-On, to address us. Please, Harael.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, best wishes to the winners for all the work that you have done for us. Yeah, please join me. But I did want to make some general comments about the state of the university now. First of all, we've had a wonderful board of governors, and thank you. If the world economy would go from 0 to 100 as fast as the university has done, we would all be in better shape. But I also want to thank the leadership of the university, headed by Asher, that really have the pleasure of working with on a monthly basis, that is doing an amazing job navigating us safely through this constant transformation in time. You know, it's really a very challenging period, and I think they're doing a wonderful job, and we should all be very proud of them. For those of you that don't know, the Board of Managers or the Board of Directors meets monthly and really escorts and supervises the work of the leadership team of the university, and does that truly as the university charges ahead in planning and the execution of everything that they're doing. But we are privileged to gather here today really at an amazing time, a very prosperous time for the university. And I just wanted to share a few highlights that you may have heard over the last few days, but I think should make all of us very proud. First of all, we've been running a balanced budget for 5 years in a row, which is very much news for the Hebrew University. We also are experiencing growth in the last 5 years in every possible respect. And just to name a few things, our number of students has grown by 15% over the last 5 years into an all-time high for the university. Also, the number of our faculty members has grown by 12% over the same 5 years, which I think is also amazing after years of decline. And finally, the scale of our research in terms of grants and publications has grown by 20 to 25% over the last 5 years. These are really exceptional times for all of us. But we're continuing to build for the next 100 years. You know, we're 100 years old. We should think about the next 100 years. Fundraising, as you know and heard, is at all-time high, with more than $150 million raised last year. Israeli philanthropy, which is really a source of pride for us Israelis here, is now accounting for 12% of the money being raised. For a small economy, that's not bad at all. Our endowment has grown by 50% during this period. 50% over the last 5 years, which again is very good. And we're doing big projects, as you may have heard anecdotally, in Hujitech, in Mount Scopus, and elsewhere, that will grow the endowment by $1 billion more in the next few years. So really, the university, again, I say, is at a wonderful location. Something that I'm very proud of is that also we're investing in the future of the world. So we talk a lot about innovation and technology and the future of medicine that you heard much about. But we continue to cherish and enhance also the humanities. And I think that's an important part of who we are. And I'm proud to say that over the last 5 years, the number of faculty members in humanities has grown by 6%, and the academic grants by 25%. So humanities are very much part of our past and very much part of our future. And as worried citizens of the world, we should all be very proud of that. So in closing, thank you for your continued support, especially the winners. And I'm very honored to be here, and we look with confidence for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Harael. And I now invite the president of the Hebrew University, Professor Asher Cohen. Asher, please.
Well, I'm the third speaker, so I have to say things that were not said by my predecessors, the chairman of the Board of Governors and the chairman of the Board of Managers. With both, I and the management of the university work very closely. I just want to add one more thing to what Harel said. Yes, we are very much into excellence, into pushing the world forward, into advancing all the scientific goals that we have. It's our call, and that's what we do, and to teach our students. But I want to stress that we are also involved heavily in the community. It's very important for us to do things that advance the community around us, Jerusalem and Israel, and because we are doing so nicely in the scientific front, we advance the world as well, and we are very proud of it. Coming back to the ceremony, we keep talking in this Board of Governors, justifyingly so, about family, about the fact that we are one family. And it is the case. We are one family because we do all the things that we do with the contribution of many different, not many, but several different components. The researchers, the students, the academic, the administrative faculty are part of it, but our friends in Israel and around the world are very much part of it. And the reason that we succeed is because all of those components contribute and help us do what we try to do, which is to advance the world. But when you talk about family, I cannot think about a better example than the people that I see here, right here in front of me. I know some of them very well, some of them I know a little bit, but I know what you do very well. And every single one of them is really a family member of the Hebrew University in the truest sense of the word, which for us is a warm feeling to know that we have family members like you, that we relied on you in the past, and I know that we can rely on you in the future. So thank you very much for what you did, for what you are, for being my family members, the university family members, and I'm looking forward to the ceremony. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Asher. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the order of the ceremony this afternoon. Each and every one of the honorees will be invited to join the president of the university here on the red carpet. And then each honoree will be introduced by a close friend of the honoree. And then the president will present the honoree with a scroll and with a very special pin designed for this event. When this is over, the honoree and the person reading the scroll or introducing the honoree will return to their seats. So we have quite a list ahead of us. President will be introducing each honorary fellow with a scroll and with a unique pin. And the pin, it's a lapel pin, a handmade, gold-plated, designed by a graduate of Bezalel Academy of Art and Design, Mr. Yossi Matityahu. So President Cohen, without further ado, will you please come to the carpet? And our first honoree is Evelyn Bloomfield Schachter. Please come forward and join the president of the university. And I would like to call upon Monette Malevsky, the national chair of the Canadian Friends of the Hebrew University, to introduce the honoree. Monette, s'il vous plaît.
So, Evelyn Bloomfield Schachter was born and raised in Montreal. Her parents, Bernard and Mary Bloomfield, were very involved in Jewish communal and Zionist activities. Evelyn and her brother Harry are the fifth generation of their family to be involved in Zionist activities. One of their great-grandmothers was a delegate to the Second Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland in 1898. Evelyn and Harry were fortunate to have been steeped in Judaism, philanthropy, and community commitment. After graduating McGill University, Evelyn did a postgraduate degree in psychology at Oxford University. She spent a year in Israel, which coincided with the Six-Day War. This year was a personal and spiritual experience that affected her profoundly, leading to a heightened appreciation and connection to Israel as the Jewish state. As a philanthropist and activist, Evelyn is an integrated member of the Canadian Jewish community. She led and served the Canadian Friends of the Hebrew U for over a decade, first as president of the Montreal chapter and then as secretary of the National Board of Directors. She currently serves as an associate governor on the Hebrew University's International Board of Governors. Evelyn and her brother Harry led the LD Foundation, serving as vice president and president respectively. Especially noteworthy is the foundation's Lady Davis Fellowship Trust, founded by the Bloomfield family in 1973. To date, the trust has awarded 2,500 fellowships to Hebrew University and Technion students. Evelyn had numerous leadership positions in the Jewish community, including the Montreal and National Chair of the Women's Division of the State of Israel Bonds, President of the Jewish National Fund, and Chair of Women's Philanthropy of Combined Jewish Appeal Campaign. Evelyn has served on the boards of the Jerusalem Foundation, the Magen David Adom, the Lady Davis Institute for Research at the Jewish General Hospital, Montreal, Canadian Hadassah Witzo, Hillel Montreal, the Board of Sisterhood of the Shara Shemaim Synagogue, one of the oldest and largest synagogues in Canada. She also co-hosted Hi Montreal, a Jewish communities TV show, and was a madriach at the Second March of the Living. In 2008, Evelyn was awarded the International Lion of Judah Friedland Award, which honors extraordinary women who have set a high standard for philanthropy and volunteerism. Other awards include the Ida Steinberg Memorial Trophy, the Karen Arsat UIA Award, the President's Club Award, the Israel Solidarity Award from the State of Israel Bonds Organization, and the Medical Services Award from Canadian Hadassah Witzo. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Evelyn Bloomfield Schachter by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of the honored friends.
Well, thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Monette. And we now move to the second honoree, Aldegonde Brenningmeier Verhaan from Belgium. And I would like to invite Professor Menachem Ben Sasson, the Chancellor of the University, to introduce our honoree. Menachem, please.
Aldegonde Brenningmeier Verhaan. Aldegonde Brenningmeier is a faithful friend of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, an advocate of spirituality, marriage, and Catholic Jewish relations, and the founder of foundation promoting these causes. Aldegonde studies social sciences at the Institute of Social Sciences in Germany and theology at the Catholic University of and Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium. She married Hubert Brenningmeier in 1967. The couple were decades-long proponents of interfaith dialogue, both in Belgium and further afield, and unfortunately Hubert passed away on February 2nd, 2018. In 1999, Hubert and Aldegonde demonstrated the commitment to their ideas by founding the Center for the Study of Christianity at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. With the university preeminent in the study of religions, the center's establishment was the catalyst for interdisciplinary scholarship in all three monotheistic religions. Aldegonde and Hubert's commitment to the center's success can be seen both in their long-standing generosity for scholarships at the center, their regular attendance at its conference, and the support of its leadership. In the same vein, the couple advanced and supported the center's collaboration with Cardinal Bea's Center, a twin center for Judaic studies at the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome, expanding opportunities for teaching, research, and academic exchange between Christians and Jews likewise. Over the course of her career, Aldegonde has devoted herself to scholarly articles and lectures on marriage, spirituality, and family, and she also founded and directs an international academy for marital spirituality, what we call INTAMS in Belgium. Drawing on the heritage of Christianity, INTAMS collaborates with academic institutions worldwide to promote study of theology and philosophy on the one hand, and human and social sciences on the other hand, thus increasing understanding of marriage and intrinsic spirituality. In 2021, the University of Bonn conferred upon Aldegonde an honorary doctorate in theology in recognition of her outstanding achievements on behalf of Jewish-Christian dialogue and Christian theology of marriage and family. To honor Dr. Aldegonde, Huber and Huber Partnership and Humanity, their names were engraved on the Hebrew University's Wall of Life in 2002. 10 years later, namely this morning, their names were also engraved on the Wall of Benefactors, overlooking the old city of three religions. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Aldegonde Brenningmeier by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of its honorary fellow.
Congratulations, Aldegonde. This is indeed gezelligheid. Thank you, Menachem. We now move to our third honoree, Helen Devorah Jacobs Lepore from the United States of America. Please come forward and join President Cohen. And I want to call on our one and only Ms. Patricia Glazer. Patty, s'il vous plaît, please.
When I think of Helen, I think of the opposite of Elie Wiesel's concern. In one of his many writings, he wrote that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. Helen, my friend and colleague, is anything but indifferent. She's been an active and avid supporter of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem for almost 2 decades, as she passionately supports the university's mission to educate future generations of leaders and scientists in Israel and abroad. She's deeply committed to the American Friends of Hebrew University, where she serves on the Western Regional Board, the Campaign Committee, the National Board of Directors, and the AFHU Grants Committee. In addition, she and her husband, Dr. Norman Lepore, who is with us today, are active leaders within the region and have served as co-chairs of the Bel Air Affair for the past 12 years, having raised over $10 million for student scholarships. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Helen received both her bachelor and Juris Doctorate degrees with highest honors from UCLA and the UCLA School of Law. She was also an editor of the UCLA Law Review and has won the American Jurisprudence Awards in both real property and contracts. More. Helen serves as on the board of managers of U.S. Medical Innovations, LLC, a privately held FDA-registered biomedical device company focusing on the fields of plasma, electrosurgical devices, robotic mini-invasive technology, and the eradication of cancer using cold plasma. She previously had a 15-year tenure as president of several American subsidiaries of Ostrom, Inc., an Australian publicly traded entity. Helen's devotion to Jewish life and heritage extends to the next generation of Jewish leaders. She and her daughter Marissa, along with 3 other mother-daughter pairs, co-founded Remember Us, the Righteous Conversations Project, which has been recognized by the Slingshot Foundation as one of the most innovative charitable organizations in Jewish life today. Helen and Norman are proud that their daughter shares their passion for Tikkun Olam and preserving Jewish identity and culture worldwide. Marissa serves on the 3rd generation board of the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles, and she is with us today as well. The Jewish Journal recently recognized Marissa as one of the 30 under 30 remarkable young people changing the Los Angeles Jewish community. Over the years, Helen has served on the boards of and continues to support many charitable organizations, such as the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles, the Holocaust B'nai Mitzvah Project, Foster Care Counts, Save a Heart Foundation, and American Friends of Chaim Sheba Medical Center at Tel Hashemot. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to my friend and my colleague, Helen Deborah Jacobs Lepore, by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of its honored friends.
Congratulations, Helen. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Next in line is William Jeffrey Kilberg, better known as Bill. Please come forward and join the president of the university. And I wish to call upon Joshua Rednick, the CEO of our American Friends of the Hebrew University, to introduce the honoree. Josh, please.
William, or as most of us know him, Bill Kilberg, is a staunch supporter of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Initially introduced to the American Friends of the Hebrew University by his friend and colleague George Sharon, Bill is now a member of AFHU's National Board of Directors and also serves as president of our Mid-Atlantic region. He strongly believes that the Hebrew University is at the forefront of the startup nation, conducting cutting-edge research and educating Israel's future leaders. Bill and his wife, Bobby Green-Kilberg, who's here with us today as well, and who is the retired president and CEO of the Northern Virginia Technology Council, both generously support the Minerva Center for Human Rights at the university's Faculty of Law, where Bill himself serves on the center's United States Advisory Board. Bill and Bobby's philanthropy in support of the Hebrew University was recognized in 2018 when they were inscribed on our Wall of Life. Working in support of American Friends of the Hebrew University several years ago, Bill was instrumental in organizing a very special event for our organization at the United States Supreme Court, personally hosted by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Also many years ago, in 2014, Bill was awarded the Torch of Learning Award by American Friends of the Hebrew University for his concern for justice, his support for higher education, and his overall leadership of our organization. After 38 years as a partner with Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher, where he served on the executive management committees of the firm and served as partner in charge of its Washington, D.C. office, Bill retired from the practice of law. During his career as a labor and employment law litigator, he argued numerous cases in state and federal courts throughout the United States and also before the United States Supreme Court. Bill is a graduate of Harvard Law School and completed his undergraduate work at Cornell University, where he attended on a scholarship from Local 3 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. He served as a White House Fellow and Special Assistant to Secretary of Labor George P. Shultz. In 1973, Bill was appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate as Solicitor or General Counsel for the United States Department of Labor, and later, President Ronald Reagan appointed Bill to the Commission on White House Fellowships. To this day, he remains the youngest person ever to be appointed to a sub-cabinet post in the United States government. Currently, Bill serves as chairman of the board of Warbeck Materials Corporation, a technology company that produces graphene-based electronic communication systems for both military and civilian use. He's a member of and serves as counsel to the board of the Nixon Foundation, and previously, Bill served on the boards of the Potomac School and the Virginia-Israel Advisory Board. And earlier, just this year, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin appointed Bill to the newly created Virginia Commission to Combat Anti-Semitism. Bill and Bobby have and love 5 children and 12 grandchildren, and the entire family demonstrates an unwavering commitment to Israel's preeminent university, the Hebrew University. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Bill Kilberg by naming him as an honorary fellow and welcoming him into the ranks of its honored friends.
Congratulations, Bill. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Next is Switzerland, and I have the pleasure on calling on my friend Jacques Maffard to come forward and join the president. Now, believe it or not, I call upon myself to introduce the honorary. I won't let anybody else introduce Jacques. Jacques Maffard is a philanthropist who has dedicated himself to support a myriad educational, health, and social welfare projects worldwide. Born and educated in Iran, Jacques founded and ran a prosperous pharmaceutical company there. In addition, he undertook a number of charitable endeavors, including building schools and nursing homes that benefited both Jewish and Muslim communities in Iran. In 1979, in the aftermath of the Islamic Revolution, and having been forced to sign over the rights of his company to the new government, Jacques Maffard and his family left Iran, eventually settling in Geneva. Jacques founded yet another pharmaceutical business which also thrived. He invested considerable efforts in supporting social projects and working closely with local Jewish community leaders. Jacques' activities extends beyond borders, and he also enjoys very close relationship with the Jewish community in France. He worked very closely with the chief rabbi of France, Rabbi Citrouk, with the president of France, Jacques Chirac, United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, to release the 13 Iranian Jews who had been arrested by the Iranian government on baseless allegations of spying for Israel. In Israel itself, Jacques magnanimously devotes himself to various causes, including support of the Hebrew University, as well as supporting several medical centers, initiating the construction of synagogues and establishing dental clinics in underserved regions. His love of culture led him to assist in the publication of many books, and most significantly, his noteworthy role on the Board of Trustees of the Encyclopedia Iranica at Columbia University, on which he worked to include Iranian Jewry's rich history. In 2012, Jacques received the Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur in France from President of France, Nicolas Sarkozy, in recognition of his charitable, humanitarian, and cultural contributions. In addition, in 2014, the President of the State of Israel, Shimon Peres, bestowed upon Jacques the President's Medal of Distinction, Israel's highest civilian award, and Jacques is one of the handful of non-Israelis who have received this distinguished award, along with Dr. Henry Kissinger, President Bill Clinton, President Barack Obama, and Chancellor Angela Merkel. So 50 years ago, Jacques and his good friend Yigal Allon founded the Yitzhak Sadeh Prize for Military Literature to perpetuate the memory of this great leader and promote outstanding Hebrew publications on military topics. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem and I personally pay tribute to the one and only to Jacques Marfar by naming him an honorary fellow and welcoming him into the ranks of its honored friends. President Cohen, you may return to your seat now because it's time for some music. And I would like to introduce our first musical interlude called A New Beginning, or in Hebrew it sounds even better, Mashu Chadash Matchil, presented to us by Maya Avraham and Rami Oserwasser. So, Maya and Rami, please.
משהו מתחיל, מתגלגל ברחובות, משהו אחר יורד במדרגות, משהו קורה תופס לו בזנב, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו, מישהו מוכר עומד ומסתכל, אמצע רחוב מישהו אוכל, כמה רעשים הופכים כבר למקצת, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו, דברים קורים תמיד בזמן נכון, באים הולכים בני המון, את עיניי תראי ומגע מקרי בי, ניסים קורים הכל עוד אפשרי, האם פתאום את תעברי, ערב שוב יורד לעיר העסוקה, חושך מתגנב, מונית שם מחכה, חתול קטן רחוב גובע ברק, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו, ריח מתוקים מציץ מהחלום, שם במרחקים עולה כבר אור ראשון, קטע שהרחוב קורע מתחתיו, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו, דברים קורים תמיד בזמן נכון, באים הולכים בין ההמון, את עיניי תראי ומה גם יקרי בי, ניסים קורים הכל עוד אפשרי, האם פתאום את תעברי? כל הנקודות כבר מתחברות לכאן, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו, דברים קורים תמיד מזמן נכון, באים הולכים בין ההמון, את עיניי תראי ומה גם יקרי בי, ניסים קורים הכל עוד אפשרי, האם פתאום את תעברי? רגע של שלווה אני עוד מחכה, זוג צעיר עובר מחזיק לו יד ביד, מעבר לפינה פנים חיוך אחד, משהו חדש מתחיל אצלי עכשיו.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lyrics by Ilil Tamir. The music is that of Danny Robas. The singer is Maya Avraham. And the guitar is Rami Osovasser. Thank you, Maya and Rami. We will now continue presenting the scrolls. President Cohen, will you please take your place on the carpet? And it is your seat, yes. So I would like to invite Philip Moses to come forward and join the president on the carpet. And I would like also to call Michael Dunkel, the federal president of the Australian Friends of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, to introduce our honoree.
Philip Moses' support of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem is a continuation of his family's time-honored tradition, going back more than 80 years. As a leading member of the Australian Friends of the Hebrew University, Philip has played a crucial role in promoting the university upon the world stage. The Moses family's commitment to the Hebrew University started in 1936, when Philip's grandfather was instrumental in the founding of the New South Wales Friends organisation. Philip's father, Bram, served as secretary and later as president of the New South Wales Committee and also the Australian Committee, while Philip's mother, Helma, was president of the Ladies' Committee for many years. Philip's involvement with the Australian Friends began in the 1960s. Ever since, he has provided invaluable assistance, drawing on his economics degree and experience gained through his successful business career. Serving as the Australian Friends Treasurer and Honorary Secretary and then National Vice President, is now a trusted advisor. Philip has helped the organisation to increase awareness and fundraising, manage events, compile historical records, prepare promotional materials, and expand its impact and outreach. In 2009, Philip was appointed as an Associate Governor of the Hebrew University. The Hebrew University is thankful for Philip's generosity and his regular participation in the International Board of Governors meetings. Philip's myriad forms of support have always been rooted in his deep understanding that the university requires both practical assistance and passionate supporters in order to flourish, as well as world-class scholarship. Since 1993, to celebrate his family's long association with the university, Philip began increasing the Mr. and Mrs. Braham L. Moses Family Student Aid Endowment Fund, established by his father in 1971. The fund has been crucial to enabling generations of Hebrew University students gain an excellent higher education while nurturing future generations of outstanding scientists and scholars. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Philip Moses by naming him as an Honorary Fellow and welcoming him into the ranks of its honored friends.
Before we proceed, I wish to recognize the presence of Heidi Rothberg. Heidi, hi. Heidi is with us. And we now move to Yaakov. Nobody knows him by Yaakov. Yankele. Yankele Rimmer, please come forward and join the president. And to introduce him, I call upon my friend, Ram Semo, the director of the Division for Advancement and External Relations of the Hebrew University. Yankele.
So I'm watching you, Yankele, from behind. Yankele Rimmer is the firstborn to his parents, Esther and David Zal, who survived the horrors of the Holocaust. Yankele was born in a transition camp in Germany as they awaited their passage to the land of Israel. They remained in Europe until 1949, when they finally made Aliyah and settled in Bat Yam, where they had 2 additional children. Yankele grew up proud to be an Israeli and Zionist. He dedicated himself to the national effort of strengthening the security and resilience of the emerging state. He completed his mandatory service in the Israeli Defense Force and continued serving as a reservist. All in all, he served for 51 years. Right, Yankele? Later in his career, Yankele joined the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, where he worked for 4 decades. Yankele should be about 120 years old, according to this. He established and ran its security division to great acclaim. Over the years, Yankele became acquainted with the warm, caring, and Zionist Jew, Mr. Sam Rothberg Zal, who was greatly contributing to the growing state. After Sam's passing, Yankele continued in his path, along with his daughter Heidi, which here, as Yossi mentioned, Rothberg. The two have a unique familial connection, joined by a shared vision of realizing Sam's Rothberg's dream and vision. Yankele was always willing to go above and beyond his official duties and help promote the university in Israel and abroad. He greatly assisted the administration foster ties and advance philanthropic initiatives with major donors, first and foremost with Sam Rothberg and Sam's youngest daughter, Heidi Rothberg. Yankele always worked hard to garner support for the Hebrew University. Among many significant North American families, including the Smith family, Winetsky, and the Goodman, of course. Yankele would always and also assist university donors visiting Israel, greeting them at the airport at all hours in all gates. Yankele was very connected, believe me, helping with their paperwork and delivering them safely to their destination. When Yankele would come to see me, he would say in Hebrew, Ram tishma, Ram, hear up. And then I heard so many stories over the years from Yankale about these and other donors that I feel as if I know each and every one of them from an additional perspective. In the decades since his retirement, Yankale has continued garnering support for the Hebrew University, Israeli hospitals, and the security forces. Yankale is the father of Doriel, Elad, and Nadav, and the grandfather of Yair, Alona, Yuval, and Ori. And you know, my late father would say, I'm said in Hebrew and then translate, Yankale, mimcha lamadnu arbe hamfaked. Yankale, we learned a lot from you, the commander. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Yankale Rimmer by naming him as an honorary fellow and welcome him into the ranks of its honorary friends.
תודה רבה, ינקלה. Thank you very much. תודה רבה, Ram. Thank you. And now we move to the United Kingdom, and I call upon Muriel Salem to come forward and join the president. And I want to invite Professor Idan Segev to introduce our honoree. Idan.
Shalom Uriel, Shalom Freddy. It's really an honor for me, it's a pleasure for me to have this ceremony. I know Muriel and Freddy for 15 years. We became close friends. And it's rare that I am saying it, but I'm learning from Muriel every day about the connection between brain and art. She's a great expert in art. I really learned a lot about how she approached art, both from artistic point of view, but also from the social point of view, and the context of art in her brain really impacted me in many ways, because after all, what's more beautiful is art created by human brain. Thank you very much, Muriel, for being my teacher. Muriel Salem was born in Beirut, Lebanon in '56 and attended the college Protestant François de Jean Phi. In 1975, she and her husband, businessman Freddy Salem, came to London on holiday, and due to the civil war in Lebanon, they remained in the United Kingdom. In 1999, after raising her family, Muriel founded, she's still raising the family, Muriel founded the Cryford Collection, which grew to become one of the London's most important private collection of contemporary art, containing more than 700 works dating from 1980s onward. Muriel regularly opened her home in Regent Park to art community and apprising students who come to view artwork from her collection. She also often loans work of exhibitions around the world. Alongside their commitment to Cryford Collection, Muriel and Freddy are major contributors and patrons of the art and have supported many art institutions in London. Alongside her passion to art, Muriel has been engaged in supporting scientific endeavors in the field of neuroscience. Well acquainted with the talented scientists and researchers at the Hebrew University, Muriel has become a great supporter of the Edmund and Lily Safra Center for Brain Sciences, ELSEC. In 2015, she founded the Brain Circle UK, a charity dedicated to supporting education and research in neuroscience in the service of humanity. And she relayed interest and support amongst friends and donors within her community in London. As an active member of the European Friends of the Hebrew University, Muriel was part of a delegation of 50 friends that held a private audience with Pope Francois at the Vatican 2015, recognizing there, which is absolutely true, that more than 1 billion people today in the world suffer from brain-related diseases. Muriel strongly believes that real hope for progress, from cure to prevention, can come only with a comprehensive, basic research of brain functions. Her ambition is to aid in this effort and to invest in humankind's future by supporting the distinguished Hebrew University LSEC Brain Research Center and the talented students, the PhD students that emerged there. We have there 120 PhD students right now. Muriel and Freddie family and the 4 kids and grandkids are part of our community. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Muriel Salem by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of its honorary friends. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Muriel. Thank you, Idan. And we now move to Germany. Professor Bettina Schwarz, will you please come forward and join the president? And I want to invite Professor Yossi Garfinkel to introduce our honoree. Yossi, please.
Professor Bettina Schwarz is an accomplished archaeologist who heads the Biblical Archaeology Department at the University of Potsdam's School of Jewish Theology in Germany. For many years, she directed Hebrew language education at the Associate Abraham Geider College in Berlin, working to ensure the advancement of progressive Jewish rabbinic tradition in Europe. Bettina's current focus within biblical archaeology is an exploration of the interaction between antique artifacts and ancient sacred texts. Her research and education programs examine the Iron Age chronology debate, cult in biblical time, ancient funerary monuments through the ages, ancient temple architecture of the southern Levant, and the history of Jerusalem. At the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, she supports a number of current archaeological excavations and publications. Her philanthropic effort and endowments have established student, doctoral, and postdoctoral scholarships in the field of Israeli archaeology. In Berlin, she built a private library, which is open to all who are studying, researching, and interested in the field of biblical archaeology, with growing amount of publications and plaster cast of antique artifacts. Bettina's personal involvement goes beyond her own academic career. Her deep investment is inspired by her close connection to Judaism and her strong bond with Israel and its universities. She traveled to Israel often, either with her family or alone, to tour and work on archaeological excavation sites. She has further extended her generosity to support the Jewish community in Düsseldorf and the restoration of medieval Hebrew manuscripts, as she worked tirelessly to connect the present and the past in all her endeavors. Bettina's journey and ongoing interest in Israeli history and the scientific activities of the Hebrew University have resulted in her devoted support and promotion of archaeological initiatives and research into the cultural heritage of the land of the Bible. Bettina holds a Magister Atrium from the University of Hamburg, a doctorate in human letters from the American Jewish University in Los Angeles, and an awarded professorship of the Republic of Austria. She is senator of the Avraham Geiger College in Berlin. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem paid tribute to Professor Bettina Schwarz by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of honorary friends.
Congratulations, Bettina. Thank you, Yossi. And now I wish to call Leslie Shasha to please come forward and join the president. And once again, I call upon myself to introduce Leslie. Leslie Shasha is a respected psychologist and philanthropist. She is carrying the cherished legacy of her father, James Shasha of blessed memory, in her support of higher learning and education at the Hebrew University. A practicing clinical psychologist in New York City, Leslie completed her bachelor in psychology at Wesleyan University and her PhD in clinical psychology at Adelphi University. She has had a private practice in Brooklyn Heights for over 19 years. Previously, she worked with children and families and now focuses primarily on couples therapy and some individual therapy as well. Her main area of interest is multicultural couples and the impact of immigration on their relationship. Leslie is deeply and personally committed to working on suicide prevention as well as tackling the stigma surrounding the topic of suicide. She runs a weekly support group for sibling suicide survivors. She is also active in the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention as well as the JED Foundation, a nonprofit that protects emotional health and prevents suicide in teens and young adults. Her late father, James Shasha, Zichrono Livracha, was a beloved benefactor and a businessman in the Argentinian Jewish community and a tireless activist for the State of Israel. Speaking at his eulogy service in 2019, Leslie described him as a man of, I quote, resilience, generosity, wisdom, empathy, a visionary, a peace supporter, creative, and a brilliant mind. He was a man of few words and big accomplishments. The Shasha family's long-standing support for the Hebrew University goes back more than 40 years. In 1989, James inaugurated the Shasha Center for Strategic Studies at the university, which integrates academia and practice in analyzing central, national, and state issues. Its position papers, annual seminars, and research plays a crucial role for key decision makers in Israel and beyond. James continued his support for the university throughout the years. His most significant gift was the creation of the James Shasha Complex for the Psychological Sciences in 2014. This research institute is making great strides in the study of psychology. In appreciation of his generosity, the Hebrew University awarded James Shasha an honorary fellowship in 1992 and an honorary doctorate in 2002. Leslie shares her father's generous spirit and drive. In recent years, she has forged a connection with Hebrew University in her own right, donating significantly to the Faculty of Law, as well as focusing on a variety of other initiatives, all the while enjoying a warm relationship with the faculty and administration. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Leslie Shasha by naming her as an honorary fellow and welcoming her into the ranks of its honored friends. Congratulations, Leslie and Yossi. You can go back to your seat. I mean, I can go back to my seat. Well, we keep the best for last. Barry Skolnick, please come forward and join the president. And I want to call on Beth McCoy CEO Emerita of the American Friends of the Hebrew University, to introduce our honorary Beth. Please.
Barry Skolnick is a devoted advocate for the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He is the CEO of BLS Asset Management Corporation and a civic leader in the New York and Miami regions. After earning his bachelor's degree from the State University of Oneonta, Barry built a thriving career in real estate. As president and CEO of BLS Asset Management and managing member of BLS Realty, he invests, inquires, and develops residential, commercial, and industrial real estate. Barry hails from a legacy of giving to the Hebrew University, among other causes in Israel and the United States. His leadership and magnanimous support of the Barry Skolnick Biosafety Level 3 National Laboratory, located at the Hadassah and Kerem campus, will advance scientific education and research in Israel in the aftermath of the pandemic and for in times of health. Barry's late parents, Connie and Alan Skolnick, of blessed memory and whom I've had the privilege of knowing, were staunch supporters of the Hebrew University. Due to their interest in science, particularly nanoscience, and their friendship with American Friends of the Hebrew University, they funded PhD students in nanotechnology at the university's Harvey M. Kruger Family Center for Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. After assuming the presidency of the Skolnick Family Charitable Trust, Barry increased the trust's contributions to the Hebrew University and has donated generously to the faculty recruitment and PhD fellowships at the Kruger Family Center. Barry is proud to continue his family's tradition of supporting nanoscience research at the Hebrew University. Barry is deeply connected to Israel and believes that young Jews should learn about Israel and their historical and cultural heritage. He demonstrates these ideals by supporting Birthright Israel and supporting trips that take teens to visit concentration centers in Europe. Barry's philanthropy and leadership also extend to organizations in both places that he calls home, Miami and New York. He serves on multiple boards, including the Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami, the Make-A-Wish Foundation in Southern Florida, the Greater Miami Police Foundation, the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center in Nassau County, the Jewish Funders Network, the Jewish Care Association, and the Jewish Theological Seminary. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Barry Skolnick by naming him an honorary fellow and welcoming him into the ranks of its honored
Mr. President, I think you may now return to your seat because our last guest is Evelyn Wexler in New York, and you are now invited to watch a short video of Evie receiving her honorary fellowship in New York, and I hope Evie is on the line because she is supposed to join us on Zoom. Please.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today in New York for the conferment of an honorary fellowship upon my mother, Evelyn Wexler, by the Hebrew University.
The Hebrew University of Jerusalem pays tribute to Evelyn Wexler in sincere appreciation of her long-term commitment and devotion to the Hebrew University alongside her success as celebrated artist and photographer, with gratitude for her meaningful support and maintenance of the Wexler student dormitories. In recognition of her sponsorship of annual scholarships at the Robert H. Smith Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Environment for international graduate students, in acknowledgement of her generosity towards human rights, animal rights, and environmental organizations in the United States, connecting her passion for animals with her concern for improving the well-being of people, and with thanks for her greatly appreciated role in the American Friends of the Hebrew University and her valued insights, and hereby name her Honorary Fellow and welcomes her into the ranks of the Hebrew University honored friends. Evi Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Mazel Tov. And keep it for many years to go in pride, happiness, as a mother of our family, as your home is our home in New York. Mazel Tov.
Thank you, Menachem, for this prestigious award.
Thank you very much.
Over 100 years ago, when Albert Einstein came to New York seeking information and, I guess, acceptance about the idea of a Hebrew university in Palestine, he met my father-in-law, Abraham Wexler, and thus became the Wexler family relationship with the Hebrew University. There's a dormitory on Mount Scopus, and most recently, a lounge at the School of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, where the nurses and doctors can rest and study in between appointments. When the Hebrew University opened, there were 168 students. Now there are 24,000. Of those students, some who are studying at the School of Agriculture are Wexler Foundation students on scholarship, so that they can go back to their villages, primarily in Africa, and share what they've learned with their families and fellow villages, and also hopefully share our Hebrew values. Thank you again for this prestigious award and for the ability to be of service.
Thank you very much for the partnership.
Well, thank you very much, Evi. Thank you very much, Menachem. And to respond on behalf of the recipients, all the fellowship recipients, I take pleasure in calling upon Bill, that is William Kilberg, to address the audience. Bill.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, my co-counsel, Dan Schlesinger, fellow awardees. I've been asked to say a few words on behalf of the fellowship awardees, but before I do a personal comment, yesterday there was a celebration of a gift made by Bobby's and my very good friends, Brad and Cheryl Schwartz. And at that event, Brad said, in referring to Bobby and me, that you could look at us as one person. The fact is, however, that if we listed Bobby's accomplishments, we would be here well into this evening. My greatest accomplishment was convincing her to marry me 52 years ago. When Yossi called me, I think it was about 3 years ago now at least, to tell me about the fellowship, I very honestly was confused. Shouldn't it be I who was giving something to Hebrew University, not Hebrew University giving an award to me? It is, after all, Hebrew University which is educating the next generation of scholars, leaders, and innovators. It is Hebrew University that is serving the people of Israel and contributing so much to the health and well-being of all of the world's people. Hebrew University is a unique and special institution. While there are many universities who were founded prior to the creation of the states in which they reside, and some who had prestigious founders, there are none whose founding was with the purpose of being a predicate to the recreation of a nation, and none who had founders of such worldwide renown in each of their fields. Who can compare to Einstein, Freud, Weizmann, Buber? And what other institution of higher learning has had as its purpose to pave the way for the return of autonomy to a people in its native land after a hiatus of 2,000 years? What other institution has done more to educate the population of its nation, secular and religious, Jew and Arab? And I might add, what other institution has achieved so much and is so well recognized on the world stage after a mere 100 years of existence? Anti-Semitism is on the rise in the United States, Europe, and throughout the world. The Anti-Defamation League and the Brandeis Center, among other organizations, have documented a 40-year high in anti-Semitic incidents and noted its pervasiveness in colleges and universities. Hebrew University and its role in the world are thus more important than ever. The very existence of Hebrew University, like that of Israel itself, reminds us that there is a safe haven not just for those of us who live here in Israel, but all of us in the diaspora. And it is a crucial part of the answer for those who would try to distinguish anti-Zionism from anti-Semitism. As ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt has put it, anti-Zionism is a new hue of a very old color. The work product that comes out of Hebrew University in the humanities, archaeology, mathematics, medicine, the social, political, chemical, and physical sciences responds to those who would defile the Jewish state as a means of defiling the Jewish people. Hebrew University has another great purpose. While generalizations about a people as diverse as the Jews who have come together from all the corners of the earth are difficult to make, the old joke does have an element of truth. 2 Jews, 3 opinions, and 4 newspapers. Certainly, current Israeli politics support our reputation as a disputatious group. At the end of the day, it has historically been threats to our survival that have brought us together. As Jews, we are taught that we survive for a reason, to be the light unto the nations, to advance the human cause, to improve the health and well-being of all mankind. That is why there had to be a university of great distinction, dedicated to advancing the human condition before there could be a nation of Israel. So I am committed to assisting Hebrew University as best I can, and I know I speak on behalf of all of us to say that we accept this award, with humility. Thank you.
Well, to conclude this afternoon, we have another piece of music, and this will combine the sand artist Ilana Yahab and Maya and Rami together in performing Let It Be. Lyrics, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Music, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Singer, Maya Avraham. Guitar, Rami Ossawasser. And the sand artist is Ilana Yahab. Please.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hours of darkness, she's standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in a world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be cloudy, there is still a light that shine on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be.
Toda rabba. Thank you, Ilana. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Rami. And that concludes our ceremony. Congratulations to all of our honorary fellows. Thank you for everybody for joining us. I would like to call the honorary fellows to join the president and the chairman for a group photo here up front. Toda rabba. And next year at Hebrew University again.